Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you are new around here, be sure to check out my other videos. I've got loads of different videos. I've done unboxings, bashing videos, how-tos. Definitely take a look, guys. There's some really good stuff on my channel now. Guys, I absolutely love the WLTOYS 144001, but it doesn't come without its issues. Now I have done another video on this, which was covering the 3 essential things you should do on it before you even take it out for a run. If you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out here. Okay, so for today's video we're actually going to be doing another 3 things on the actual buggy itself, but these I would say are, you know, optional but recommended in my opinion, guys. You know, these things will benefit the buggy. They'll also obviously benefit you, and again, they don't cost a huge amount of money. So guys, I have to be honest, a lot of my inspiration today to make this video actually come from a website called QUADIFYRC. Now this guy has done a hell of a lot of different things with the 144001. I will leave a link in the description below if you'd like to check out his website. And again, yeah, like I said, a lot of the inspiration for today's video has actually come from that guy. So a lot of the credit goes to him. Be sure to check his website out. Okay, so what is actually on the list? What are these recommended things? What would I recommend you do to this before, you know, you go crazy and stick a brushless system in it, or whatever you want to do with this? What are the things that I'm going to recommend today? Okay, so we're going to take a look at the droop on the front suspension, sorry, front and rear suspension. We're going to take a look at the droop. We're actually going to be looking at the rear toe-in as well, and we're going to be looking at the rear shocks. You know, this buggy does like to bottom out a little bit when you do some little jumps and stuff like that. The rear end does like to bottom out a little bit. Part of the reason for this is due to that big heavy 550 brushed motor that it has. There's a lot of weight on the rear end, and it does like to bottom out. One of my lipos is charged. So guys, we won't waste any more time. We'll get straight on with the first thing. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the rear toe-in. So looking from the top, you can obviously see, you know, the buggy does come with quite a bit of rear toe-in. Now that's not necessarily an issue. It's going to give you some good cornering stability and stuff like that. But my plan with this is to do some form of speed run, see how fast I can get this thing going. I have ordered the parts to turn this into a brushless little beast. So what we're going to do is basically take out the little inserts that you can see there, and we're going to flip them around, and that's going to bring the rear toe in a little bit, which is going to make it a lot more stable at high speed. Guys, the way we're going to do this is we're going to unscrew the 2 little screws on the back here, take that little metal plate off, and then that will let us flip the little inserts around. Let's crack on with that now. Generally doing any sort of work on this, you know, it's not too difficult. The one issue is obviously, you know, it's quite small, so I do need to invest in a good Phillips head screwdriver, or, you know, like a smaller set anyway. I'm just using these, and these are a pile of crap. They do get the job done though. On my bigger RCs actually use hex drivers, so obviously I've got a decent set of hex drivers, but this does use quite small little crossed head Phillips, whatever you want to call them, you know, screws. So not everyone might have a decent set of those, so it's definitely something I need to invest in. Right, so the 2 little screws are out. So what we're going to do then is actually take this little metal plate off, if we can. Yeah, just need to, there we go. Okay, so without touching anything else, we're going to take a look at this. So guys, what we're going to do is actually flip the 2 little inserts that you can see there, that one and that one there. We're going to flip those around, and that is going to bring the rear toe in a little bit, which is going to help with straight line speed. So obviously guys, that's sort of where it was, so we're going to flip it round so that it is nearest to the inside, and then we're going to push it back in. There we go. And you know, that is going to bring things back to where we want it. So let's do the other one as well. Okay, Okay guys, so we are pretty much there. We're going to get this refitted now. Okay guys, so we'll take a little top down view again, just so you can see that, well, I can see already a lot of that toe in is actually nice and even now. It's nice and square, and this I think will definitely be better when we do some speed runs with it. Okay, so looking from the top, you can obviously see that there is definitely a difference. Okay guys, so the next thing I'm going to do is take a look at the rear shocks. Now I have noticed when I'm using this that the rear end does bottom out quite easily. Now I do believe this is due to the rear shocks only having, I think, I may be wrong, but I think it's 30 weight oil in them. Now the model that this buggy is actually modelled off of, now obviously this is a clone of a LC Racing model. The LC Racing version actually has a much smaller motor in it, so there's a lot less weight on the back, there's a lot less weight on the rear end, so you know you can get away with running a much lighter weight oil. Whereas with this, you've obviously got a 550 brushed motor in it, which is, you know, in itself is quite a heavy sort of thing. So it does weigh the back end down a little bit. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually take the rear shocks off, and we are going to fill them up with some 60 weight oil that I've got, which if I can find it, there it is. So it's silicone oil. This is QUADIFYRC. It's quite readily available here in the UK. I have used some associated stuff in the past, but you know, I've been using this for a little while, and this stuff is quite good, and I do like it. So yeah, so this is what we're going to be sticking in the rear shocks. What I'm going to do is a before and after video, actually in slow motion, just to give you an idea, or you know, hopefully we see a bit of a difference once this is actually done. Right guys, so I'm going to crack on and get the rear shocks off. Now you don't have to take the rear wing off. You can take the shocks off, I believe, without doing that, but I'm going to take the wing off just because I can get to things a little bit easier. Okay, so I've got the rear wing off now, so it just means you can get to the little nuts there a little bit easier, just to get those rear shocks off. And then we're going to empty out that oil that's in there, and then we're going to refill it with some 60 weight, and hopefully we don't get too many issues with this. Okay guys, so I'm just going to quickly pause the camera and quickly get these rear shocks off. It's pretty standard stuff. All you're going to want to do is take the top screw out, bottom screw out, and they will just slip out. So you know, you're not silly guys, you know what you're doing. I'm going to quickly pause the camera and do that now. So we're going to start by taking off the first cap. We're going to pour out the 30 weight / 40 weight. I'm not exactly sure what's in here. This is just a very old cloth that I've got here. I'm going to be throwing this straight out. Okay, so that's one. I'm going to empty the other one out as well. Okay, so that is two. So we're going to refill these both now with some 60 weight. And like I said earlier, I'm using QUADIFYRC 60 weight oil. Okay, so here we go with the first one. And we're going to stick the first cap back on. I'm going to give this a few pumps. Now I can already feel that that does feel a lot better, guys, to be fair, compared to the 30 weight that was in there as standard. That does feel like it's going to be able to dampen a little bit better than before. Okay, so that's the first one done. I'll do the second one as well. We'll do it. Okay, we're going to give this a few pumps. Okay, there you have it. So that's both of them done now. We're going to refit these onto the buggy, and we will refilm that little slow-mo shot that I did and see if it's actually made any difference, guys. Okay guys, so I have now put the rear shocks back on. They have been filled up with some 60 weight oil. You can already see this does feel a lot firmer. Damping is quite good. I don't think this will be bottoming out anytime soon. So we're going to do the drop test in slow motion. So guys, as you see there, it's no longer bottoming out. We're no longer hitting the worktop there when we drop this thing from a height. The damping action on the rear is a lot better than it was before. And I think when I am actually running a brushless setup in this, which I plan to do so, you know, the rear will be even lighter because the brushless motor is going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. So it's going to give us even fewer issues. So yeah, definitely a worthwhile upgrade. Sticking some 60 weight in the rear shocks. Okay, so what we're going to take a look at now is the droop on the suspension arms. So to get a little idea of what I mean, the buggy's obviously sitting on the worktop there, you know, which you could maybe picture it on the ground or whatever surface you're running on. So when you lift this off, you can see that there's a little bit of droop on the suspension arms. So what I mean by this is, if you take a look, there's a lot of travel on the actual suspension arms. So by the amount of travel, so on the actual stock car, as you can see, there is quite a lot. So what this could do is put a little bit of stress on the drive shaft and some of the other components. So what we're going to actually take a look at doing is sticking a little screw through the suspension arm, which will go through the arm and hit the chassis from underneath. And what it will actually do is prevent some of that droop, which will hopefully take some of the stress off the drive shaft and the working parts there, to prolong life and obviously to make this thing slightly better. So I'm going to take a look and see what screws I've got available. Now I believe the thread, or you know, the screw that you should use is an M3 type screw. You can either use a grub screw or you can use a cap head screw. In this case, the only thing I've got available at the moment is cap head screws. Just some old Maverick MV29098. These are 10mm M3 screws. You could probably get away with using 6 or 7mm screws as well. These are slightly bigger than I would like to use, but they're what I've got available at the time. I'm a firm believer in using what you have available rather than having to spend more money. So we're going to take a look at doing one of them, hopefully give you guys a little idea of what I'm going on about, if you're completely confused, and then we'll hopefully go around and do all 4 suspension arms and get this thing, you know, sitting quite nice and try and prevent some of that droop. Guys, it's a little bit difficult to see, but I'm going to try and show you where it is you need to screw into if you do decide you want to do this little mod. You need to stick the screw, where is it? Down there. So that little hole that's there, that is what we're going to be screwing into. And then that should hopefully do the trick. Just to let you know that that is on all 4 arms as well. Apparently if you upgrade to metal arms on this, those holes aren't there. It's only for the standard plastic, composite, whatever these are made out of, that the holes are actually there. Okay, so I'm going to begin by screwing the first one in. I'm going to leave the right one there alone for the time being, just so I can sort of give you guys a little idea of the difference this actually makes. And as I said, these screws are a little bit bigger than I would like to use, so they will be sticking out a little bit. But yeah, it's something you can upgrade at a later date, should you wish to actually want to or do so. Okay, so I have stuck a screw into the suspension arm there. If you look carefully, you can see it there. It's sticking out a little bit more than I would like, but yeah, it's not, guys. It's not a problem if it makes the buggy feel better, and it's all you have available at the time. Use whatever screw you can. A grub screw would obviously be quite good as well. And as I said, you could probably get away with a 6 or 7mm one as well. You know, these are 10mm. These are quite big, so yeah, they're not ideal, but they will do the job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the buggy up, and I'm going to show you the difference this is actually going to make. And you will notice that this side is going to be drooping more than this side, because this side is the one that's got the screw in it. I hope you can actually see that. It's difficult to see because I haven't actually screwed it in too much, but if I could try and hold it still, I can show you that when you screw in, you can see the arm actually coming up, so it does give you that element of adjustability. So if you take a look, you can see the arm comes up, so you can set it to what you want, what you actually want. So that's definitely way too high. So I'm just going to go a couple of turns out, and you'll see the arm coming back down again. So what this is going to do is going to take some of the stress and strain off of the components, because they're not being stretched, you know, beyond their working capacity. Guys, I just want to assure you that you're not taking anything away from the suspension travel. Just in case you think we're taking something away from the suspension travel, we're not. We're purely limiting how far the actual arms are going to go to prevent stress on the components. That's all we're doing. So that's both of them done now. So as you can see, the one I've just done is a little bit higher than I'd like. So I am going to take a couple of turns out, just to bring that back down. So it's pretty much in line with the other one. Yep, I'm definitely happy with that. And again, if you want to, for example, go a little bit higher, you know, you can just screw in, tighten that screw down, and that arm will slowly come up to where you want it to. So guys, I've just done the back one. So actually having the longer screws for the back is quite handy, because I have had to screw in quite far to get the back arm to lift up. So you can probably see quite clearly on this one that the left side there is drooping quite a lot, whereas the right side is sitting quite nicely now. There's no stress on that drive shaft, everything's nice and smooth with the new oil that we've just put in the shocks. And then obviously you probably see the screw just there, and that is fully adjustable anytime you want. You can just screw it in or out depending on how much travel you want. definitely a lot better. Okay guys, so there we have it. That's all 4 corners done. All 4 screws are in now. As I said, they are fully adjustable. When you lift the buggy up, there's not a huge amount of droop anymore, and this is hopefully going to prevent a hell of a lot of stress on some of the components. The front and back are now done. Probably going to go just one more turn on the front actually. And I think that will be it. So guys, we no longer have any issues with the rear end now. Obviously the droop when you pick this thing up is now gone. You know, that's obviously adjustable with the screw. You can either screw it in or out, and you can adjust how much droop you actually want on the suspension arms. And again, you know, it's going to feel a whole lot better for you guys. Also, you know, the steering is sitting nice and true now. We've got no toe in on the front or rear, which is definitely going to help when we go for some speed runs on this. Guys, it's been absolutely great, and I will see you again on the next video. Take care.